Alright, so today we're going to be talking about loot crates and my proposal on how we can fix them. So, to start us off, I'll give you a little bit of background. So, when it comes to loot crates, they have, to say the least, an important role in the gaming community. So, when it comes to loot crates, they're in almost every major game right now, whether it be CSGO, Overwatch, PUBG, or the case may be, loot crates are everywhere, and they're designed to make the game creators more money. And, that's fine. That's fine. They can only make so much money off the sales alone of the game. So having the loot crates to not only please the customer base and the consumers, and to also make them more money, it's a win-win for everyone. But I do have a bit of the problem with the way the loot crates are implemented. Specifically, today we'll be looking at a game called CSGO, or in its long term, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It's currently one of the top played games in the world, somewhere in the top 5, top 10. There's global tournaments held yearly, so it's a pretty large game with a very large following behind it. Within this game, there are evidently loot crates, or just as they just call it, crates in general, or cases to be specific. So, with the crates in this game, you are dropped a grand total of 2 a week. You're granted 4 total drops a week, but 2 of those drops are guaranteed to be items such as a skin or spray paint or whatever the case may be. So you're guaranteed 2 crates a week, and any other crates you can purchase in your own free time or however else you want to get a hold of them, trade other people, whatever the case may be. But if you play for the for the max amount of time and gain the max XP per week, you are guaranteed your 4 drops, which includes 2 crates. So of all the crates, none of the weapon skin cases are free to open. Every case that you get dropped while playing the game and just going through it casually will always be a pay to open. The keys are $2.50 and about $2.70 after tax. There's no free way to open these, there's no way to get around this, but the upside is everything you open holds value. There are markets for these items, and the value can range anywhere from typically the lowest being 2 to 3 cents, all the way in the thousands of dollars, which gets a bit bizarre. But everything has potential to get something in that spectrum. So it's not a open a case and get nothing like gambling is, because gambling is just that. Gambling is put money in, and you either lose it all, or gain some, or gain more. While this is put money in and you're guaranteed something. You're guaranteed something of some value. Now, what that value is, that could have different value to yourself as the value to others, but it holds a value. So, we're going to be looking at how we can take this idea and potentially revise it for the better. So, with this idea, there are multiple things to open in CSGO. In CSGO, you have your standard crates, which, don't get me wrong, they get the job done pretty well. They're a pretty well designed crate. They're nice to look at. They're nice to open, and they give you a little bit of a dopamine rush because it's the excitement of, well, I get something in this blue category where, well, frankly, it ain't worth squat, but you might enjoy it. Or you're getting something in the purples, the pinks, the reds, or even the gold tier category. The gold tier category being items worth typically at least $50 or more. Out of a case you're only paying a whole $2 for. So, you can look the pro con there. Although, as looked at through multiple sources, the drop rates for these is you have approximately, so the exact numbers aren't based on percents, it's based on if you were to open 125 cases. So if you were to open 125 cases, which this can be changed to percents, with 125 cases, you are guaranteed 100 of those to be blue, the lowest category. You are guaranteed 20 of them to be purple, the second lowest category. Skins in the purple range typically costing between 10 cents and 80 cents. You're guaranteed 4 of those to be in the pink category. Pink skins typically ranging, 80 cents to a few dollars. You're guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, I should say. This is in the perfect world. You're guaranteed 0.8 skin of that 125 to be red. Reds can be worth anywhere from $2-3 to sky's the limit at that point. And then there's the gold tier category, which is obviously the highest category. And with the gold tier category, you're guaranteed 0.2. So 0.2 of the items being the gold tier. If we were to convert all those into percents, from those numbers, it's a 79.9% chance of the blue, so 79.9% chance of losing almost all your money. About a 15.9 to 16% chance of a purple, so about a 16% chance of losing over half your money. You got the pink tier category, which you have about a 3 to 3.5% chance, which in the pink tier category you might break even, or you might lose a little, you might gain a little. So you have about a 3% chance of breaking even. Then you have a 0.6% chance of getting something in the red tier category. Items in the red tier category are almost guaranteed profit. You're almost guaranteed to make something on it, whether it's a little bit or a lot. There's red tier items as low as $3. There's red tier items as high as $2,000-$3,000. Obviously, those are some of the most rare ones to exist, but you get the point. And then the final category, the yellow category, something that all the gun crates have. You have a 0.2% chance. So that 0.2% chance when it comes to opening these, the gold tier category, like I said, there's typically a minimum of like 30, 40, $50, and sky's the limits after that. In terms of rarity, there's some items you can't even put a price on because they might be a one-of-a-kind item. So you have that possibility there. So in short, you have about a 4% chance of profit. That's not very good odds when you think about it. Even when you do gamble, like in a casino, for example, on most tables, typically the house odds are, you might have a 30% chance or 20 or 40% chance of winning. Here, you have a 4% chance. Like, that is significantly lower. Granted, the range is higher here. I guess you can consider it more reward for your risk, as your reward can potentially be an amazing item. So you can look at that both ways. However, with these really low drop rates comes a lot of people wanting to open these to try to get the rare items because they're typically what's preferred. The key downside to that is not everyone can spend that kind of money. Not everyone can just spend $2.50 and just keep opening cases after cases after cases. Because ideally, if you wanted a decent item, you'd have to open over 100 cases, and you might get a couple of these. But like, say for example, you were opening these, you might not like some of the top tier items, so you'd be wasting 100 cases. That's $2.50. That's $250, and you might get 4 items that you don't even like. So it just goes to show that their primary cases could really use a rework. And don't get me wrong, there are other forms of cases on this. There are sticker capsules. So sticker capsules, they don't have gun skins in them. They just have stickers. Stickers that you can put on the guns. Guns hold 4 stickers per gun. So you can take a plain gun or a gun with a skin on it and make it a little more customized to what you like. The sticker capsules are a bit of a different story. They are free to open, so you don't need a key, but you cannot be dropped them in game. So you don't get 2 of these a week. These are purchase only. So to get these ones, for example, you have to pay $1 or 99 cents for any of them. Whether it's a sticker capsule that you enjoy, you don't enjoy, they're all pay to open. So you're seeing a bit of a tiered system here where you have the primary skins being what you have to pay for to open. You're given the case as like the incentive, like it's the game saying, hey, we'll give you the case, but you have to pay the extra money to open it. While the sticker capsules are, hey, they're free to open, but the only way to get your hands on these is to pay for them. And same thing goes for these ones. There is the tiered system in here where you have the blues, the purples, and the pinks. You'll notice here there's no reds or there's no golds, and that's simply because the stickers is a lower risk, lower reward kind of scenario. You're only paying $1, so you're paying less than half than the gun cases, but typically blue stickers are worth maybe 10, 20 cents, and some of the most rare stickers in the pink category typically maybe go $2, $3. So there is a significantly lower holding there. There's no like top gold tier which has a range like the gold tier in the crates range, let's say $30 to 4,000. Here, you're stuck at a limit of about $4 or $5, 3, 4, $5 kind of range. So it's a lot lower risk, lower reward, and these aren't even full-on skins. These are just stickers that go on a skin. So they're not even permanent for that matter, because you actually can scratch these off. You can scratch them away, and then sticker's no longer there. So these are held at a much lower standard compared to the main weapon skins, because the main weapon skins are, well, they're completely covering the weapon, and they're more aesthetically pleasing to the user. So when it comes down to it, people are going to want to open the gun cases because it's what you're using more often. But this does kind of touch into what I want to go into, which is a tiered system. Because alongside these things, these sticker capsules and the main cases, there is other types of cases. These are just the keys, see, about $2.50 a piece. And you can always buy the cases, but since you get them for free drops, you don't need to worry about that too often. Keys, again, $2.50 a piece. But there is one more. There's the pro player sticker capsules. So whenever there's a tournament, typically 2 to 3 times a year, there's the pro player sticker capsules, which I did enjoy opening a little bit because they're only a quarter. They're a quarter to purchase, and they're free to open. But they are by far the lowest in terms of quality and rarity. So these ones are just the signature or the design or whatever of the pro player. It's the little capsules per team basis, so you can get ones for like your favorite teams or whatever the case may be. And they're typically broken into 2 categories instead of 3 or 5 like the other sticker capsules. You're given your blue category and your purples. Your blues are just your normal stickers, and your purples are holographic stickers. So when it comes to the holographic stickers, it's just the exact same thing, same signature, same logo, but holographic. These hold little to no value, typically selling between 10 cents and 20 cents. Even for the hollows, they might get maybe, like the purples might be 30 cents or something. They're held at a very low regard for, well, just about anything. So I personally enjoy them because they are more of just like adding color, but they're not full skins. They're not decorative stickers. They're not much anything for that matter. They are held at near the bottom of the regard, and again, they're not a full display of cosmetics like the skin is. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are skins, like these default skins, like I said, you get dropped twice a week, where they are only worth 3-4 cents. So if you want to buy the skins individually, by all means you can. You can buy them for 3-4 cents, but you're not getting the fun of opening a case. You're not getting that same opportunity as everyone else that can just pay the money for it. So basically my proposal to all this is we're going to try to develop a system where anyone and everyone can have the opportunity of opening the cases. Whether it's a high tier case, a low tier case, everyone's going to have the opportunity to get gun skins since they are the primary skins of this game. I did consult with a couple of my friends, as well as we've all been playing this game for 3, 4, 5 years. And I basically got some data and answers from them. So my best friend Eric, he's been playing this game for about 5 years. He has the money to spend on something like this, and he has opened quite a few cases. In his account, he's opened about $1,300 in cases, so well over $1,000. And according to him and how he feels about it, he says the excitement he gets from opening cases and just that little bit of dopamine rush he gets, it's well worth it for him. Even though he says he definitely has not made profit, nor even broke even, he said he's not too far from breaking even. He probably made $800-900 out of it. Like, not profit, $800 out of the 13. So he lost several hundred, but he said the enjoyment of opening them and having that risk reward was well worth it for him. And that's what a lot of people also agreed with. When I asked a few of my other friends, Alex, Sev, Jack, I asked all of them, and they basically gave me similar stories. Now, they all spent varying amounts. A couple of them only spent a couple $100. Some of them spent a little more than Eric. But point is, I got similar stories from a lot of them. Although they spent money, and none of them made any profit on this. They've all lost money because you only have a 4% chance of making profit, so it's kind of obvious you're going to lose money on it. But out of that, they've all said they've enjoyed their experience. They said they've all agreed that it's an enjoyable thing to do because you're doing what's fun. You're doing something that's Like gets your blood flowing a little bit. Unlike the sticker capsules, which when I did ask them about that as well, they said they rarely open the sticker capsules because it's less enjoyable. There's less risk, there's less reward, and what you do get out of it isn't even a skin you get to apply onto a gun. It's just a single little blot of design, which in their opinion isn't worth it. And after asking, putting up some questions in like community markets and all that, I'm getting similar results. So it goes to show people primarily want these skins here. Even though they are technically more expensive ones, there is a bracket for the cheaper ones. So here comes the main discussion point of this. The proposal is a tiered loot system as mentioned. And the exact way that loot system is going to work is there's going to be something as low as a free option all the way up to options which only contain, for example, red and gold areas. And the reason why I think this is a great option is because you can basically have cases where your only options are blues, where you're going to have a low risk, low reward, but say one blue could be worth 2 cents and one blue could be worth $2. So unlike the stickers where you're seeing that same kind of price bounce between really low and still not that high, you're paying a low amount, but now you're actually getting full weapon skins, which are preferred. And those ones, whether those would be free cases or those would be cases where you have to like play X amount of time and they're free. When I say free, I don't mean like you can just have as many as you want. I'm saying like your twice per week would be those cases. So you could be getting, 2 cents, because I mean the game does drop you, a couple cent skins twice a week. So they're already used to that system. So I think that would be a completely fine option where every week you're guaranteed 2 free cases or 1 free case. And that case most of the time had something low tier in it. A 96% chance of you losing money. Or not losing money, but 96% chance of you getting something that's only 2-3 cents. But that 4% chance of getting something that's maybe a couple dollars. And it gives the whole community that feeling of, hey, I have the opportunity to get this thing that is actually, going to encourage me to play more. So not only is the community a little bit happier in terms of the people that can't afford cases, but the developers might gain from this in terms of either A, the community is playing more, so the actual player base is playing a lot more because they're more encouraged to play for their max XP that week to get the 2 free cases, as well as the customers that do enjoy those free cases, it'll incentivize them to pay for the actual cases. So pay for like say a purple case or a pink case where they're guaranteed something more enjoyable, but they're still paying a little bit. Say the purple cases will be, I don't know, $1 or something. Then the pinks will be 2, and then the reds 10, and the gold's like 30. So you can kind of go up in the scale of what you prefer, what you don't prefer, what you enjoy, and you're kind of guaranteed the general range of items you may or may not like. And if you don't like those, well, then don't open them. Because similarly, like, there's multiple types of cases. Like, the glove cases have a set number of items, but there's other cases such as Danger Zone, Prism, Horizon, and with all these cases, they all have their own selection of skins that go with them. There are no 2 cases that have the same skins in them. So same thing would go with the tiered cases. If you don't like one set of blue cases, you go to a different set of blue, or a different set, or purples, whatever the case may be. So the blues, instead of giving everyone 2 cases a week and 2 shit skins a week, instead give 2 people 2 paid to open cases and maybe 1 free to open case. So you're still giving out the same reward to the customer base, the player base, but instead you're also giving the player base a little bit of a dopamine rush and an incentive to pay more in the future. So I think it would not only be a plus for the player base because it would get us more interested and give us a little bit more enjoyment, but it would also lead the developers to gain more in the near future. So I think that would be more than a win-win for the developers at that point because they're just making money out of it. And I think a really good example of this would probably have to be one of the sites I used, which was, well, I don't have it pulled up real quick. It's called SkinHub. It's a site based around CSGO skins. So on this site, you can make your own cases. Obviously, you can deposit your own money, whatever you feel, and you can open cases. This is kind of following my system, but the way that the odds are is a bit different. So like for example on this site, you're not restricted to any specific colors. You can have the blues, the purples, the pinks, the reds, you can add golds, you can add whatever the case may be. And this shows you the exact drop rates. So it's not more based on like the general ideas now. It's not like, oh, you could get any number of like certain golds, which could be any gold, or any certain reds. Now you're restricted to these specific skins. So there's less variety in a sense, but you get to make your own cases if you feel. So you have your primary cases, which are provided from the site, which more than enough variety, but you can always just make your own case. And I feel this really ties really close to my idea. You just name the case whatever you want, pick what you think is a cool design, doesn't matter, and then you can physically put in the case what you want to put in the case. So say you're like, oh yeah, I really like this gold or this red or this blue, whatever the case may be, and you can input whatever you like, and you can put the exact odds. So what are the odds of getting it? 50%, 20%, 20, and 10. And what it does is it spits out a number for you. So for me to open this case, it would cost me $86. Of that $86, I can get one of these 4 items. The reason why I'm not a huge fan of this site is because, as you can see right here, of the 4 items I put in this case, this site takes a really big premium, which doesn't make sense in this regard. So of these items, I basically made it so you have a 90% chance of getting an item that's between $77 and $78. And then you have a 10% chance of getting something that's $30. And the case costs more than the most expensive item. Which is why if you want to do anything like worthwhile on this site, you have to make the not so good item like your main odds, which I don't know, it's just kind of wonky there. So like even this case, for example, you only have a 10% chance of making any money on it. Only a 10% chance. And the case itself still costs $40. So of that $40, you could make maybe $30, or you'll lose 10. Which in my opinion, that just doesn't make sense. Because you're going to lose 25% or gain 50, not even 50%. So ideally, you should be winning every 4 goes at this. Every 4 times you play this, you should win, and that'll basically guarantee the site that you're losing about $3 every 4 rolls, which still keeps you incentivized to play, but you're still losing a little bit, but you're still feeling like you're winning. That's the sense of gambling. It's the loser's fallacy of, I'm winning something, if I keep playing, I'll win more. But in this regard, it just takes such a massive premium compared to the in-game prices that I just think it's so unfair. Like, the concept is here, and they're implementing it really well. I just think they should do it better. I'm just not a fan of the way they run it and their premiums at this point, but this does come really close to what I wanted to propose. The idea of the tiered system. Here you can make your own tiers. You can do a cheap case where all your items are, only under like $10 or something. Or you can make all your items be 84 cents or whatever the case may be. You have those options. You have that variety to do as you please, which I think is a really good idea because it gives the users more leeway. However, though, again, the downside of this is they're taking absolutely massive premiums on this, and I think that's really unfair because now you're taking it out of the hands of the not so rich consumer. So like those people that I said could only open cases that are like 3-4 cents. Say you were to take one of these cases and put a bunch of 3-cent ones in here, and you're going to put a couple of, say 10 cent, 13 cent, 20, 50 cent, and 90 cent. Let's make it really similar to the ones in game. So let's make the top tier stuff like about 4 or 5%. So let's take these top items. There. So here, actually, let's just make the top item 1%, and these can all be back up to the higher percents. 20, not even 20%. 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10, 10, and 10. So let's assume that's kind of close, so that's only 62%. 20, 20, 20, 18. No, we're still 2. Okay, so there. I just made a case kind of similar to what I think like a free case could exist to be. you have a 1% chance of getting something okay. Let's say even a 2% chance of getting something decent. But then you have an overwhelming almost 90% chance of getting something that's only worth a few cents. Now, obviously, I didn't make this flawlessly, but you get the concept. They're still trying to charge you 16 cents. Like, even if this was, like, say, a sticker capsule for around, like, that quarter range, you'd still have better odds than this. You'd still be guaranteed at least, like, 10, 15 cents, which are 3-cent ones after the majority of your odds. So this has the concept right. This website here, SkinHub, has the concept right. They just implement it so absolutely poorly. Because don't get me wrong, even down to the definitions of loot boxes, they're designed to make the company money. I understand that. But I feel like they could implement it a bit better so that people enjoy it a bit more. And when it comes to loot crates and other games, there are things such as pay to win, as it mentions here, and they're under regulation by gambling laws, but in these instances, since you're getting something out of it, it's not quite considered gambling, hence why there's so many debates going on at the moment. So, with my proposal, I think it could be very doable that instead of giving your players a couple of free skins every week, you give them the free to open cases. You make cheaper cases with the full gun skins, ballparking from the couple cent range all the way up to the tens of dollars range. So you're giving people more variety. Because another thing is, there's YouTubers that discuss this topic, there's YouTubers that go over it. And everything holds value to someone. There's people, like there's YouTubers that open hundreds of cases. Hundreds of cases easily cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So spending that kind of money and then opening a bunch of cases, you might not even get what you want because you're playing on those 0.2% odds of getting a gold. But now what if they only had to open 10 cases, which were like gold specific cases, and they were paying the same amount? Now they're guaranteed what they want, or they're guaranteed the area of what they want for the same amount of money. Instead of having to go through 100 blues, 20 purples, 4 pinks, 4/5 a red, and 1/3 yellow. Like, that means I'd have to open 375 cases to get a yellow. Which, what if instead they just paid $200-300 and just guaranteed themselves a yellow? That's where I think it'd be better. Where if you have more money, you can get more. If you don't have more money, you have to be patient. You have to wait for your free drops. It's less enjoyable, but you still get some enjoyment out of it instead of just the consistent onslaught of case after case after case that you can't open, and it just ruins the fun for you. And when it comes down to these a lot, you do have a bit of variety with the cases and how they're being addressed to you. Like, for example, CNET talks about how they're trying to enforce things like how they're gambling and they need legislation and they're focused more towards children. But that's where a spectrum of this could come in. They could have a free category where that's no longer gambling at that point. Because if you're not paying anything, it's not gambling to open the case. So with a lot of allegations, there's ones from CNET, there's ones from, trust me, there's a lot of other sites trying to battle this right now, and there's a lot of legislation going around about microtransactions and the gambling process. And if they were to have this tiered system, it would be a pretty simple way to get over this whole issue here. Instead of saying, oh, it's microtransactions, the player is paying for it, and they may or may not get something worth money out of it. While equally speaking, what if there was just a free option? Then that option is no longer gambling. So you have the option to gamble, and you have the option to not gamble. And then that opens up a loophole to saying loot crates are gambling. Well, technically only some of them are. And now you can no longer restrict legislation on all of them, because not all of them are gambling, which I think would be a really nifty loophole. And this whole idea is pretty common to be talked about with, well, the gaming community. Inside the gaming community, there's people always discussing drop rates and the cost of drops and how it'd be more enjoyable and how, like, the time span between them. And a lot of these people here can agree each week you're getting your 2 cases and your 2 skins, and the time between them is, could be a couple hours, could be 12 hours, could be whatever the case may be. And the quality out of these is people even say they're shit skins. They're skins worth only a few cents. And I again touch on this. Why not just make those shit skins free to open cases? So you still get the same skin out of it, you just get more enjoyment out of it, and the enjoyment leads to more customers wanting to do it. I think that's just a win-win at that point. And two other sources that I'm not going to play through for, well, copyright reasons and just reasons of if you want to, you can watch them yourself. But it's this fellow YouTuber called The Game Theorists. You probably heard of him at some point. And he made two videos on loot crates and the science behind them. And basically, as it's in the title, how they hack your brain, how they convince you to open more. And he mentions multiple times throughout here the dopamine rush you get when you're opening cases, when you're trying to enjoy it and you want to open more.
Controls your brain's reward center to make you feel good for performing behaviors that your brain thinks are beneficial. But it's actually a bit more complicated than I let on in that previous episode. It's not just open crate, get spray, feel happy. Dopamine isn't released when you receive a reward. It's released when you do something that your brain anticipates will result in getting a reward.
And that's the main point I want to touch on there, the anticipation of getting the reward. So with both free and paid to open cases, even though in the lower cases you're guaranteed something you're not quite gonna like that much, but you know it's gonna be a full skin, which are more enjoyable, it gives you that dopamine rush, even though it's lower bracket. So whether it's the low bracket or the high bracket, you're almost guaranteed that dopamine rush, which is what makes it so much more worth it. And well, frankly, all in all, I think that just about sums it up. One final conclusion to touch on on everything. Loot boxes are geared towards players. In his other video, he talks about how it targets the time you're playing, the time you get off, which players you like the most. One part even mentions, even though these items aren't pay to win, here, I'll show you the clip real quick.
You see how and Scientific Repo to push gamers into buying microtransactions and loot boxes. Basically, what this tool is able to do is identify items that might interest you as a player and then match you against other players with more skill who own and use that item. That way, you're in a match, you see the item, you see how good the other players are with it, and you want to get it for yourself so you too can be as good as those other guys.
And that touches on the topic again of how it's always targeting you. So they're always targeting you to try to open crates and cases. So why don't they incentivize you with lower cases? Which is exactly what I'm trying to say. So you show players the lower cases and the lower tiers, and you get them to want those. And you gradually move them through the system. This is actually a common tactic with casinos. So casinos touch on the idea a lot of rewards cards. So the way the rewards cards works is you get low rewards at the beginning, and as time goes on, you get higher rewards. He explains it pretty well right here.
Back in 1997, a membership card that allowed casino guests to earn extra perks by gambling. The program provides a nice incentive to keep players coming back for more. The more you spend, the more rewards you get for food, shopping, and alcohol at the casino. On the surface, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but that one card turned Harrah's into one of the most profitable casino chains in the world, allowing them to buy out the Las Vegas Strip's iconic Caesars Palace in 2005. Because here's the thing, giving you as a player extra benefits wasn't the goal of the card. Spoiler alert for life, guys, it's never the goal to give you extra benefits. No, the real secret behind the Total Rewards card was that it allowed the casino to track each player's behavior every time they visited. Because it required players to swipe into each machine they went to, swipe out when they were ready to leave.
And that just touches on everything again. The way they're tracking you, the way you enjoy, and then the perks. They don't just start you off with the higher end perks immediately, because they're aware you're going to start small with your gambling. The same thing that loot crates should do. Start small. Start with the cheaper items. Start with the lower tier items. And incentivize people by giving them the crates for free on the higher tier items. And as it mentioned here, it made the casinos highly profitable. So why aren't the loot crates doing it? With this, as he showed in the pictures, your benefits could be things like banquets. It could be like hotel rooms. I even heard of one story of a high roller. He spent millions a month in gambling, and he was given a car by the casino. It just goes to show that they'll incentivize you as you keep going up in the tiers of what you're paying for. which is what I think makes it so valuable in the tier system. Not only will the people enjoy it more, but they will also give more money towards the company in time. It might not be as profitable immediately. It might not be, minute one, oh, they're spending hundreds of thousands. No, minute one, they might only be spending 10, 20 bucks. But you incentivize them to come back, they might spend 50 bucks. And same thing to go with loot crates. And so forth, so on and so forth. 50, 100, 1,000, so on and so forth. Same thing with loot crates. You give them a free crate a week. 2 months go by, they've gotten 8 free crates, and the player thinks, I want something a little bit better. Then they pay 50 cents. And now you just turn someone that might not ever buy a crate in their entire time playing into someone that spent 50 cents. And I'll say that player buys a dollar crate, and then a $2, and then a $3, and then they stop there. Now you got $7.50 out of someone that might have spent zero, because they didn't want to pay the $2.50 out of the gate. They wanted to kind of see what they enjoyed first. Or maybe they stopped at the $1. They still spent $1.50 compared to nothing. Or say they just keep opening 50-cent crates. The point is, they have the tier system so they can feel comfortable doing it. They can do what they enjoy, and you can hone in on that. Say they only open the 50-cent crates, but they're always opening the 50-cent crates. But they only open the 50-cent crates from the older skins or the newer skins. The game can then incentivize them by noticing this trend and giving them the more expensive crates for the same time zone cases. So say this person only opened 50-cent cases from 2015. They can give them a 2015 case of a higher tier. They can basically track and follow everything and incentivize you with things you'll enjoy. Or as it mentioned with a previous example with the in-game skins, if there's a skin you really enjoy in, say, the dollar bracket, and they're trying to incentivize you, they'll put you against people that have those skins in that bracket, so you see them, and who knows, maybe then you'll open a dollar case. So not only does it make it more enjoyable for the player and more enjoyable for the customer, it's a lot better for the business as well. It's a win-win on both ends. It gives more freedom, and it makes everyone more money. I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it'd be a wonderful way to potentially revise the entire idea of loot boxes in a game as massively large as CSGO. And just one final PS note, I'm aware other games have other loot systems, but as far as I can tell, no one's made a perfect one yet. Some of them either make it all free and there's no way to pay, some make it all pay, there's nothing free, or whatever the case may be. I wanted to focus specifically on CSGO since it is one of the most highly played games in the world, most definitely in the top 5 or top 10, with tournaments yearly costing $500,000 to $1 million for the winners. So that's the end of my presentation of my project. Yeah, I'll email you the bibliography.